Just say
All
hello.
right.
I won't bite. Hello.
All right. All right. Hello. 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 Check 1 2. Seems like we're going to be good. All right. Sit down for this. I'm going to move this. Can this be? I don't want to blow you out though. Yeah, that's better.
I'm a little hard of hearing anyway. So
Oh, you're going to be good?
Even
Okay.
if it is loud, that's fine.
All right, cool. Just want to make sure that everyone's good. Oh, that feels good. Feels good to sit. Can you check, just double check, make sure that's recording? You should see the numbers going on the bottom of the screen.
Does red mean it's recording?
Red number is good?
You're
All right.
good.
All right, cool. Thank you so much for double checking, because
No problem.
it's a big deal.
I must be doing the AD next year.
There you go. All right. So welcome to Furries with Disabilities, everyone. Furrydelphia 2023. Thank you for coming. If I go to the next slide, you will see a QR code that is a link to the whole slideshow itself. And this will be available at the end of the slideshow as well. So if you miss it now, don't freak out. But the good thing is that this particular QR code links to the presentation itself. So once you have it or a buddy has it, you can go and share it among yourselves. It's all good. So it's self-referencing. So all good there. Let me just adjust my panel here. There we are. Moving on. Just an advisory that I'm not a medical professional or a lawyer. I strive to share accurate information, but please confirm any information received today with a medical professional or a lawyer. I may describe my own personal experiences with my own unique disability, which may include detailed talks of surgeries or procedures. Discretion is advised. I think we'll be okay here. Don't really plan on talking about stuff, but if people have questions, happy to answer. So who am I? Hi, I'm Blind Wolf 8. Pleased to meet you guys. I'm a Cherry Hill, New Jersey native. I'm a COVID-19 survivor as of December 2022, last year. Would not recommend COVID. Very achy joints, all that stuff. This is my 3rd year going to FD, my 2nd time on staff as IT in FD. I have been visually impaired since birth. I'm known as legally blind. And this is the 3rd year for this panel. So how many of you have come for all 3 years now? Anyone? Anyone here? You came for all the years? All right. Anyone else? Clap? Yes? No? Okay. Lucky, lucky. All right, cool. Well, why are we talking about furries with disabilities today? Well, I wanted to give insight as to what disability entails and how prevalent they are in society, even the hidden disabilities, which we'll get to. I wanted to discuss accessibility technology, also known as A11Y, because there's 11 letters between the A and the Y in accessibility. That's a hashtag you'll see on social media. Discuss how disabilities can impact interacting with fursuiters and the furries themselves. Show how you can best support those with disabilities, and special thanks to the disabled furries community for the feedback and input on this panel over time. So thank you guys for sure. Those people I've talked to on Telegram or people here, what have you. So totally thankful for all that stuff because everyone has a different experience, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. So what is a disability, right? Merriam-Webster defines a disability as a physical, mental, cognitive, or developmental condition that impairs, interferes with, or limits a person's ability to engage in certain tasks or actions or participate in typical daily activities and interactions. So kind of, cut and dry. So the types of disabilities, so we have vision, like me. How many people do you know that wear glasses? That's actually a disability itself, right? Without their glasses, they may have they may be low vision or classified as legally blind. Those are 2 different things. What about hearing? People with mobility or paralysis problems. Speech, other sensory issues like no taste, no smell, no feeling or sensitivity in a paw or hand, etc., and many more, of course. More about disabilities. So visible versus invisible. So the interesting thing is that with me, if you did not know that, or rather, if I didn't tell you that I had disability, that I was legally blind and I wasn't reading anything, most people, or actually, I'm sorry, I'll get to that in just a moment. So I just realized I went a little bit too quick anyway. So visible versus invisible. So examples of invisible disabilities would be things that are cognitive or learning, such as ADHD or ASD, chronic pain or illness, diabetes, asthma or allergies. Some people can pass. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about. So if I didn't let you know that I had a visual impairment and I wasn't reading anything, I could pass as someone who was fully sighted, right? You wouldn't know unless like you looked really closely at this eye, but then again, you would not know anything about this eye here. So that's that. So I can pass in that way, which is both a blessing and a curse in some way. Excuse me. 27% of people in the U.S. Have some sort of disability. That's up from 26% in previous years. There is a great infographic by the CDC that they changed this year with that updated percentage and new, spiffy graphics and all that stuff. It's definitely cool to look at. Once again, you'll be available to access this once you get to the presentation and it's on your device. Why did you not go forward? Oh, there we go. Let me just make sure. Yep. Okay. So notes on accessibility. Excuse me. Accessibility technology. So all major operating systems. So those on desktop computers, on mobile phones, have various accessibility features. Look for them and change someone's life via education. Excuse me. So by operating system we mean Windows, Mac, Linux, Chrome OS, Android, iOS, iPads OS, which is iPad OS, whatever. All the major operating systems have some sort of accessibility technology. There was a fur, I think they're in North Carolina. He had no idea about the accessibility options. He has, I think, worse eyesight than me, and I told him about those accessibility options in his operating system. They blew his mind, and now he's able to do things that he wasn't able to do. So that's what those accessibility options enable others to do. So for example, on my phone, which is currently recording this presentation, I had cataract surgery, and now my focus level is further out. I'm 2200, which is classified as legally blind. However, anything that's closer than that, I need to use the magnification feature on Android in order to temporarily zoom in to see something very fine. So there's that. So that's accessibility technology for me. So anyway, look for the newest version of Android if you're using that, which is 13. I'm in the beta for 14, so that's on there. Examples of that would be for vision, of course, dark mode, right? You wouldn't think about it as something that would help the visually impaired, but it can. Consider that some people are light sensitive. Some people read white text on a dark background versus dark text on a light background. That light may be too bright for them, too blinding, so there's that. I actually had that situation before when I had something going wrong with this eye, the only eye I could see out of. My vision was actually getting worse than my standard, so it was very, very uncomfortable. I would not wish it upon anyone. Please get your eyes checked. There's that. But anyway, dark mode is considered an accessibility option. Text size, display resolution, DPI, cursor size, cursor color, magnifier. You can do it docked, full screen, follow the cursor or text caret. Text caret is the little blinking cursor that you see when you click in a field. You can keep the cursor or text caret center on your screen, so as you look around your screen, you don't have to move your head. You can keep your head center, and the screen will instead move, which is very helpful. Invert colors, built-in screen readers, color correction for those with color blindness. There's 3 or 4 different kinds of those. Navigation via touch, and braille display support. So there's a lot of different things. But there's more. For those that have hearing impairments, we have live captions, which transcribe via phone audio. So for example, if I'm speaking and someone is completely deaf, that microphone in that phone can take that audio I'm speaking and actually turn it into text live as I'm speaking. So really cool. Live transcribe is pretty similar. That's for live transcribe is for live voice sounds. That's the thing I just did. Live caption is different. Oh, that's for your phone audio. So audio that's playing on your device versus audio that's around you. So sound amplification, visual notifications for sounds, hearing aid integration, which is I think that's really cool. Mobility. So if you have mobility issues where you can't really use a couple digits at a time on your phone, you can control. Oh, I'm sorry. This is for people that have general, or rather more severe issues. So you can control your device via voice, single switch, face gestures, or even your eyes. So totally good there. Voice typing, mouse cursor speed, and double click and tap speed. Those are also things you can adjust. So all of your phones have a virtual assistant where you say, hey, and then the name of your virtual assistant. I don't want to be mean and trigger people's virtual assistants out there, so I'll just say, hey. Physical products you might not know about. So there is this company known as iAssist LLC in New Jersey. I don't work for them, but I know them. I've gotten products for them, or rather from them. They give in-home demos of low vision tech. Tell them a wolf from New Jersey sent you. I'm assuming that other companies may do this too, but basically with them, once again, each person's visual issues are going to be different. If you have a visual issue or difference, then different technology is going to work for different people. So I recommend, using a company like them or them for different technology that you may be able to find, and find the one that works for you, because everyone's going to be a little bit different. Smart canes. So this would be for people who are completely blind. Completely blind people or furs use canes to actually feel when there's a step or a change in elevation. I don't use a cane, as you can see here, but excuse me, there are now smart canes where you have GPS embedded in them, so sounds really cool, and I think they talk to you as well, so definitely cool. Head-worn electronic magnifiers, Jordy. I actually have that upstairs. I didn't bring it with me here, unfortunately. I just forgot. But basically, think about it like a VR headset before there was VR. So basically, it's a camera that's sitting out there. You have two LCD screens on your eyes, and then you just go and you zoom in. The camera zooms in, and it brings the view closer, but your field of view is narrower, but you're zoomed in. So with the Jordy on, all zoomed in max, I can see greater than 20/20, which of course to me is amazing. I don't know how you guys see 20/20. I really don't understand it, but it sounds pretty cool. So Jordy, unfortunately, I spoke with the company that acquired the maker called Enhanced Vision. The company that made it was Enhanced Vision. They got acquired by Vespiro. I spoke with a representative from Vespiro and say, hey, how come you're discontinuing this? I'm working with them to try to resurrect the product. I told them the story to say, hey, this product's awesome. Why the heck are you discontinuing it? All that good stuff. So I'm fighting the good fight. New Eyes is another one. There's a lot of different other things like this, like the Jordy, where you can see and zoom in. There is something called the Brainport, which I actually forget what that was compared to last year when I spoke about it. But I know there is something where people who are completely blind can actually see with their tongue, of all things. So interesting stuff. Pocket electronic magnifiers, I actually have one upstairs. I don't use that a lot. I mainly just use my phone to zoom in, which I mentioned here. I can use my phone to zoom in on stuff far away, or take a picture and then zoom in on the picture. Really cool stuff. For hearing, bone conduction speakers. There is another company out there that you can buy all kinds of assistive technology from, known as MaxiAids. Not sponsored or anything, I know of them, so I figured I'm passing along the information to you guys. It's this technology for vision, hearing, mobility, etc. Remember, there are many ways a disability can be defined, right? Medical, social, political, consumer, but no matter what happens, you are still valid, right? You own your disability. Your disability does not own you, okay? And if you need help, please seek the help of a therapist to talk about your disability and how it impacts you, because there is a way forward. Yes, did you have a concern, question?
Can I ask questions in the middle, or should you wait to tell questions till the end of the panel?
It may be best to wait till the end. Are you able to write it down, or?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, just want to make sure. But yeah, if you do need support, because it is tough living with a disability. Like, for me, like, I can't drive, right? So there's a lot of stuff. Well, I'll get into a little bit more of that, but it's tough. So please feel free to reach out to a therapist. Don't be afraid. They're there to help you. And you matter, of course. Disabilities are differences to be celebrated, right? So let's take a look at examples of disability representation in furry media. So here we have Danger Mouse, Patch, and Wolf O'Donnell from Danger Mouse, 101 Dalmatians, and Star Fox. Then we have Red 13 from Final Fantasy VII, Lord Darcia from Wolf's Rain, and a new one this year is Vortex from Has Been Hotel, or Hell of Boss, which I have not seen, but I know a lot of people seem to like that thing. So that's visual representations. For those with hearing differences, we have Dougie from Blue. I know that's a popular one. Once again, if you guys have suggestions for things to add in the future, feel free. I actually asked 2 different Telegram chats, which I'll get to later, about who they'd like to add. So always happy to get more. Mobility, there's a new one in here this year. So the one from last year was Lolly from Puppy Dog Pals. The new one is Lorca, Lorca, from Dragon Tales. I believe that's how you would pronounce it. So there we are. New slide this year. This is Coco the monkey, who has type 1 diabetes from Disney, which I didn't know about. I thought that was awesome. Amputee, I didn't know about this one either. So this is Audrey Antelope from Llama Llama. Apparently that's a show on Netflix. And new this year, ASD Asperger's. Carl Gould from Arthur, who I didn't know had ASD or Asperger's. So there you go. So just some examples. And once again, you guys exist, right? If you choose to talk about your disability or to have it represented in your fursona, you can do so. Hello. So this is Sushi. Sushi the wolf is a visually impaired furry with spastic hemiplegia, cerebral palsy, and they have art here, and they run the the Disabled First Telegram group, and they use a mobility scooter and a weight cane user. And I just want to let you know that they want you to ask before hugging. Next we have Stormy, who actually made this art themselves, and they are autistic and physically disabled, and due to that they have weak muscles, which affects their energy level and their eyesight, and they have epilepsy. They use a wheelchair sometimes, it looks like, and they're also vegan. They wanted to add that little bit in there. Next, this is, I think they told me to pronounce it Koopy or Koopai, I forget. I'm sorry, I forgot. There's a lot of information here, but basically they have type 1 diabetes, but they have integrated that into their fursona with a little pouch that contains different items like their pump port, and yeah, they basically want easy access to that stuff, and they've actually they're working with, looks like some furs to model fursuits, like to 3D model and print a fursuit sized glucose meter. So really cool. I thought that was really cool. And once again, I'm here. Hi. So I am blind wolf 8. I am legally blind, which means my vision is 2200 or worse in the better eye without correction. So basically what that means is on the Snellen chart, you know there's that big E on the top of the Snellen chart, the eye chart? That's all I can see as far as the letters from that distance. And if you're not sure what 2200 means, that means someone with, or rather, there's an object, someone can see it at a certain level of acuity 200 feet away. I have to be 20 feet away to have that same level of acuity. And that's what those letters are there on the Snellen eye chart to measure. So there you go. So that's this right eye. My left eye is completely blind. So that's why I have that eye patch there. Disabilities in furry, so representations in fursona, so invisible disabilities can become visible, hence my fursona, right? You can choose to represent your disability in your fursona if you would like. No problem. You can hide it. You can not hide it. Whatever you want to do. Fursonas can be freeing or empowering, right? For example, someone in a wheelchair may have a furry that is able to walk, right? Or someone that has poor sight has a fursona that can see perfectly, right? It can be inspiring, freeing, empowering to them. So very important for mental health, of course. How can we better engage, connect, represent, and support these furries, though, right? Vision differences. So we're going to talk about ways to interact with furries or fursuiters that have these differences. So for vision, we have myself and two other furries here, so Jenny Beats and Nalu Catfish. So some things to keep in mind when interacting with furries with visual differences would say, hi, person you're talking to, it's this person, right? Because to me, you may be, I don't want to be rude, but you may be a series of blurs. And, so I'm like, who are you again? Because if you think about it, right, there's a lot of fine detail in a face, in a muzzle, right? And it's pretty cool as far as fursuits go, because fursuits are a lot more visible, a lot more memorable. So that's probably why I like furries so much. I don't know. That's just another thought. Assist us when asked, of course. Be patient, because some people say, can't you see it? It's right in front of your muzzle. Like, what's going on, So there's that. Of course, if someone is using a tool or guide animal, please respect it. And there's more than guide dogs or wolves out there. There are guide ponies, right? Seeing eye ponies, guide pigs, I believe. So, and there's probably a couple more animals that I just don't know about. So, pretty cool. Points of interest. So this is interesting. Imagine that you're trying to describe where, I don't know, that pen is to me right there. So you would say, hey, do you see that white piece of paper? And I'll say, yeah, I see the white piece of paper. And then you'll see, hey, look at the very top of that white piece of paper. There's a dark pen there. I was like, oh yeah, there's a pen. So you see how we slowly led a person to an item, right? Now, granted, there's a big contrast there, but if there's something else, if there's a smaller, if there's a less of a contrast there, points of interest may help. Also consider that field of vision is going to take or rather, lack of field of vision. Doing something like this, like points of interest as I call it, would help as well. So for example, if there's something that's outside of my field of vision, like over here, because I can see my hand right about here. If I move my hand here, I can't really see it. So if there's something that's out, I may just have to turn my head and be like, oh, there's my paw, there's my hand. Let's consider. Okay, I already talked about photos. Next, hearing differences. This is Zusha Wolf. Some people in the hearing difference community, right, may not consider their hearing difference a disability, but instead feel it is a way of life or part of their community or culture. So please be respectful of that. Wave your hands or arms according to Zusho, that's fine. And don't be afraid to text them. And be patient. Remember that signing takes time, right? Mobility differences. So be wary of the fursuiter's mobility device. Be respectful. It's not a prop, right? Be patient with them. And don't help them unless asked. So here we have Shepherd Munt and King Wintermint. So we have them there. Consider the following. All right, so disability to disability. Two people with the same type of disability may have vastly different ways that it affects their lives, opinions of their disability, and tools and techniques they use. So example, someone who has no vision at all versus someone who has some vision, which is, of course, a drastic change. Was there a question?
I saw like Viola, that dragon.
Wait, I'm sorry, I can't. What'd you say?
I saw Viola, a dragon at the time was in a wheelchair after like an accident, so
Okay.
just like
Yeah.
saw it sounded like.
So you're saying someone got into like a car accident and they were in a wheelchair?
I'm not sure what happened, but I think they kind of had an injury.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
blowing up, so they had to get in a wheelchair, and I was just like.
You were just thinking about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
About how like people can like,
Sure, yeah. Are you aware if it was temporary or?
I think it's temporary.
Okay. Well, that actually leads into a next slide, so I'll talk about that in just a bit. But thank you for sharing. So example, as I said, someone who has no vision at all versus someone who has some vision, that's going to be a drastic change, right? But then two people who have the same, or rather two people who have low vision, which is 20/70 or worse, right? So someone can see something 70 feet away with that level of acuity that person needs to be, or those people need to be 20 feet away. They may have different things that affect their sight, different ways of handling it, different ways, opinions of it, right? Things like that. So just things to consider. Consider the following: vision, hidden items, and costs. So this is very personal to me. Consider that having a vision disability can be a mobility and a social disability, right? So, for example, I cannot drive, so every time I have to go somewhere, I have to pay Uber. That's an expense, or Lyft, or what have you. Another thing is that if I don't go places, then that's less social less social interaction for me. So that's kind of a, it's a double whammy in some ways. So there's that. You all right? All right. So once again, short end or long distance. Short end or long distance mobility. So there's going to be extra costs, extra planning, or waiting time for that. You can miss out on small memorable moments, such as being the first one to find and recognize someone in a room or crowd, right? There's just some body language, right? Just some stuff that you could see someone across the room and say, oh, hey, I'm over here, that kind of thing. You don't have those moments potentially. So it's just things you can miss out on. Some body language or nuanced social cues. So you may not, see someone waving their hand or paw, just things that you may miss, right? Just some subtle body language that would indicate certain things to you. Combined, so lack of mobility options can lead to missing out on social events, right? So once again, I had to take Uber here. I would not miss this, right? So I spent that money. I said, to hell with it. I'm going to spend the money, right? That's what I have to do to get here. I'll get here. So other unseen costs. Delivery services, advanced technology, etc. Right? So once again, the majority costs money. So there's that, among other things, such as having your food delivered. You can't go to the grocery store, right? You need that extra money to have that service. Consider the following fursuits. So for someone without a disability, does wearing a fursuit make them having vision, hearing, and mobility, or rather, for someone without a disability, does wearing a fursuit make them have vision, hearing, and mobility disabilities for a time? Something to think about. Is there some other event going on now? Oh. Okay, I just want to make sure that we were still on track for time. What time is it?
7:15.
Okay, so we have like half an hour left?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good. Okay, just want to make sure I wasn't close on time or something. Cool, thank you. So if someone does not have a disability, if they have a fursuit on, does that give them a disability temporarily, right? That's something to think about. And does it make them more empathetic, potentially, to someone that has a disability? To say, oh yeah, I kind of understand what having low vision is like now, sort of, right? Or hearing issues, or mobility, what have you. It's a fair topic for open floor if you'd like to talk about it. But we're going to continue on now. Consider the following. Boop. So this is a fun one. So consider that, because I'm close to my phone, I can just use my nose. I can do a boop, boop, and I can just tap buttons on the screen. It's pretty cool. I just think it's neat and fun. So once again, right, someone may say, oh, my sight issues, or, they're killing my vibe, right? But, there can be a fun upside if you choose to go down that path. And once again, if you have issues, with things, if you feel stuck, right, feel free to speak to a therapist, of course. Support. Defend when in need, right? So bullying is fully uncalled for, right? No one should be bullying someone else because of a disability. Get that out of here, right? Disability rights, very important, of course. Elevate furries who are disabled, creators or not. Treat us with respect like you would any other person or furry, right? Small acts of kindness make a huge, huge difference to us. So last year, someone drove me home from Furrydelphia. That saved me like $45. And that was great. Like, I didn't have to deal with like Uber and Lyft and everything else. It was wonderful. So just something like that. And even like here in like the dealer's den, like I can't see 99% of the stuff that they're selling, which is both a good thing because then I don't have to spend money. It's a bad thing because I'm like, do they have this item? I have no idea what they're selling. So like if people want to be like eyeballs for like 5 minutes and be like, hey, just tell me what's here, you know, that would be awesome. Like, you know, good stuff. Donate. Donate to charities you believe in and your time and actions, right? So just things you can do to help those in need. And remember, this is the, sorry, I got a little emotional. This is the Furrydelphia 2022 group photo. We're all in this together, right? We're just here helping each other out, doing what we can. So just don't forget that. Here are some resources for you. So we have the Disabled Furries Telegram group and the Visually Impaired Furs Chat Telegram group. This is available in the slideshow, so even if you miss scanning these, you just need to scan the QR code at the end. It'll give you the slideshow itself along with these 2 QR codes, so you can join by tapping those links right there on your phone. So what did we learn today? Disabilities can manifest in a variety of ways, even those that are invisible. There's a lot of cool tech out there to help you and others be empowered, right? Make sure, to take a look at the technology, empower others by letting them know about the accessibility options available, to them. You're valid, your disability does not own you, and therapy can help. Disabilities are differences to be celebrated. A persona can highlight a disability a furry has and or be therapeutic for them. When interacting, different disabilities require different actions and knowledge. We talked about that. Disabilities can have hidden challenges beyond what's on paper, such as extra time or cost involved, for example. Lend a paw to those with disabilities. It will come back, it will come back in spades. And of course, have fun. And I would say you're valid as well. I should probably change that to you're valid. Keep in touch just a howl away. Here's all my contact information. Once again, all this is available in the slideshow once you have it in your paws. This is my second talk for the day. I have one more coming up, which is, or rather today anyway, Asexual Furs Meet and Greet, and then I have personal finance for furs, or how to get your fursuit for free. That is tomorrow morning. Earlier today, I had furries and mental health, which I thought went excellent. I'm here until Monday, and I'm going to put this stuff on YouTube so everyone can benefit. Be social if you want. Use Furs with Disabilities on social media. Let others know, including me, what you thought about the panel. Continue having discussion on disabilities and the furries who have them. If you have a disability, how has furry positively impacted your life? If you know someone with a disability, how have you helped them? Don't be afraid to say hi. I want to meet you all, and be a proud furry, of course. And you can tell us more in open floor, which is right now. Thank you very much. Thank you. You had a question early on. What's going on? What's up?
Yeah, it was I'm just gonna speak up so that like the back of the room can hear me.
Yeah.
There was the one slide where it said the different types of disabilities.
Yes. Let me go back to that. I'll go back. Right over. Were they the hidden ones?
That one, yeah.
Oh, this.
That one, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. Can you give examples of what what social, political, and consumer disabilities would be? I mean, I'm kind of familiar with disabilities defined in a medical sense.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've seen them listed as either like political or consumer. So I'm just curious if you could give some examples.
Yeah, so if you go to the Wikipedia page for disability, it actually has a bunch of different, or rather, it was either disability or accessibility. They have different, they have different definitions there. But one of them would be like societal, I think, where it's like if there's a curb or something, is that society's fault? Or like basically who should be the bearer of overcoming it? Should it be the person in the wheelchair who needs to get like some other thing for their wheelchair so they can go over curbs? Or should there be a societal change where we actually remove that curb and make it a ramp, right? So there's just different ways to define that. It's been honestly a couple years since I looked at that article, but it was very interesting because it's something I never had thought about before. Once again, I'm trying to recall that exact example, but I would recommend taking a look at that Wikipedia page. I think it was under disability. If you just look it up, there's different definitions there. So sorry I couldn't give you the best answer, but I hope you're curious.
Okay.
Is that helpful?
I'd be more curious if you could list an example of like a political or consumer disability, but I'll just take the time to research it after the panel.
Yeah, sorry, I don't have anything in mind, but I do know that it was there and it was very interesting.
Okay.
From what I read on the page. The person behind you has a question. Hi.
I think a good argument for like eliminating curbs and having accessibility like ramps is that not only it helps like those disabled, it also helps those that are skaters or people that have like luggage. That's like
right.
something I have for like increasing accessibility because it helps more than just those that are disabled.
Right, exactly. So let me so for this happens when developing games too. So in a previous life, I wanted to be a game developer, but the game development industry is insanely tough. But it turns out technology that was put into games can actually help players that don't have any disability at all. One other thing was, for example, like dark mode. I think it was over, yeah. So like dark mode would be an example. That is something that can help both people with a disability and without a disability. So to your point, right, adding ramps instead of curbs can definitely help with other things besides people in wheelchairs. But there's extra benefits, right, to making things more accessible as far as removing those barriers. And to your question about the different types of disability, I believe it did speak about barriers as well. So just something to consider. I'm trying to recall that article, and I apologize that I just don't have that Wikipedia page memorized. So I apologize. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Sure.
So, as it's gonna take me a second to actually say everything.
No, take your time.
So when it comes to passing with a disability,
Yeah.
do you ever? This is more of a personal question.
No, it's fine. You can listen. So just FYI, you guys can ask me anything you want about my disability, and you can share whatever you guys feel comfortable with about your disability. This is a safe space. I'm totally open to discussing anything about my disability. So go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. In concerns to passing, do
Yeah.
you ever feel that you passed too well?
Yeah. So that's something that I really wish that people would say, oh, can I help you with anything more? Because I feel like in the dealer's den, I'm kind of just walking around and it's okay, there's a lot of cool flashy lights and a lot of people selling stuff, but I do feel self-conscious about going up to an item and bringing it close to my face, and I'll be like, oh, okay, that's what this is, and I have to do that for all the items or whatever, or I have to get close, or I have to use my Jordy or some other device. And then if I'm using my Jordy or my phone or some other device, I'm concerned about the dealer saying, hey, are you taking pictures of my art? Stop doing that, right? So there's a lot of social stuff, a lot of social concerns around that. And that's what I would encourage therapy is for, right? To kind of say, hey, maybe, oh, there's a flyer or something in here.
Flyer on you.
Gross. Yeah, so that's what therapy would be for. It'd be hey, maybe the fly should go away. Maybe die. Maybe the dealer won't freak out and block you from looking at stuff, right? Maybe there's another possibility that you're not thinking of because you're so self-conscious of your disability and how it affects others, that it's kind of helping you to turn down that dial, that self-conscious dial, and allow you to kind of focus on other things so that you can live your best life that you can. So that's totally what therapy is for. But that was in my Furries with Mental Health, which is recorded and will be on YouTube soon. So anyway, does that answer your question?
It does.
Okay.
And as soon as that person is done asking their
Oh, yes.
question, I will have another thing to say.
Sure. Yep.
Alright, well, I have a disease called NF,
NF, right? Okay.
which is neurofibromatosis. I don't know how to spell it, don't ask me. But with me, in my NF, they call us intellectual disabilities, like
Okay.
ADHD,
Yep. Talked
autism.
about that too.
And I don't know how to say this, but I'm kind of one of the lucky ones who have it.
Okay.
Because other people who have it, they sometimes have deformities,
Oh,
like
yeah.
growths and all that.
Right.
And so I used to actually, when I was younger, I went to a camp for kids with NF.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so it was an interesting meeting people. Some of the people who went there, I'm still good friends with and all that.
Yep.
But it's just hard for me. Like, I had learning disabilities with it.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I can tell you that when I was born 3.5 months premature. Like, I was probably like the size of my mom's paw. And they say, hey, he may have a brain bleed, he may do this, he may do that. Let us know if his eye starts hurting him, blah, blah, blah. None of that stuff happened. So I was lucky too. So I was 1.5 pounds, 3.5 months premature. Like you, in some way, I went to 2 camps for the blind when I was younger. I went to I think it was the Helen Diller Vacation Home for the Blind, which was a kind of a shore house thing, and then Camp Marcella, which was like a mountainous thing. It was really interesting because as someone who has low vision, or rather who is classified as legally blind, I actually felt out of place there because, a lot of people have like no sight, or they act in such a way that, I don't know, like you just feel a little bit out of place. But that was me, so maybe you or others had a different experience. So yeah. Anything else that you'd like to add about your experience with NF?
I'm not sure what else I'd like to add, but I know there are 2 types.
Okay.
And it's like really confusing for which type I am.
Okay.
But I believe I am type 1 NF.
Okay.
I'm not sure off the top of my head.
All right. Well, my recommendation is to do your own research and talk to a good doctor, a specialist, because the thing is that you have to take care of yourself. So make sure that you have all the information that you can get to get that care that you need so that you can take care of yourself. That would be my recommendation. I can tell you that I actually, a couple years ago, I didn't even know this existed. I went to a nystagmus virtual conference. It's called ANN, the American Nystagmus Network. Nystagmus is something I have where it's actually a neurological condition, which the brain basically turned a dial up and said, hey, uncontrollably move your eyes. So basically that hurts my focus. So some people have like moving up and down, some people have side to side, some people have both. And some people, their eyes steady, but their head shakes. And I didn't even know that stuff existed, and apparently there's a lot of different types of nystagmus, and it's more prevalent with kids who are albino, from my understanding. But yeah, fascinating stuff. Anything else that you'd like to add?
Nothing else.
Okay. You had another question?
I didn't have a question. It's
Or
more
comment?
just comment. I
Sure.
guess. So with my disabilities,
Yep.
I have a few. I have ADHD.
Okay.
I have autism spectrum disorder.
ASD, yeah.
And I've got a few other.
Cognitive?
Yes.
Okay, sure.
And as far as like physical stuff goes, I have a heart condition.
Oh, okay.
And I got in a pretty bad accident where my legs I have chronic pain in my legs.
Okay, yeah. So that's an invisible disability, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like stuff that people can't see.
It's the invisible disabilities, yeah. Yeah.
So
No.
it's like a lot of times I feel not disabled enough for disabled people, and too disabled to be with the able people.
No, I get it. I get that. And of course, I would recommend, right, trying to speak to a therapist personally to find your place. And if you can, try to find other people, right, with similar disabilities potentially, or someone that shares one difference that you have and another one that shares another difference, just to have that sounding board, that therapeutic nature of just talking. Because honestly, like, therapy is like 99.9999% talking. Because a misconception I talked about today is that therapy is all medication, which is false. Therapy is mostly talking. So
The medication part is psychiatry.
that's correct. Did you go to the Furries the Furries and mental health presentation?
No.
No, but you knew that. Very good.
I've just been in therapy for a long time.
Oh, okay, good. I'm glad. And just make sure to keep talking with your therapist. Reach out to fellow furs, right? If every person you talk to is going to have a different story, different input, different ways of looking at life, and how to overcome those barriers, right?
Yeah.
So does that make sense? Anything else that you like to add?
I have this issue
Okay.
where I would love if the people around me could be a minuscule bit more understanding.
Oh, okay.
About because I pass a little too well.
Yeah, because you passed too well, yeah.
So it's like,
Okay.
I want to ride the bus, but I can't ride the bus because I'm too anxious, and every time I get on the bus, I have to hobble my way onto it, and every time I get off the bus, I have to trip my way down.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay.
And
So you just want more empathy
yeah.
and support?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So something that may be helpful, and I don't. So do you take a normal, like, public transportation bus?
Yeah.
Something that. So are you in New Jersey?
Yeah.
You are. Okay. So I'm assuming you've heard of Access Link.
I have not.
Okay. So everyone, take a look in your state. There is something known as paratransit. Paratransit is something that is funded by your state, and it is equivalent to the local bus system, but for people that cannot take the bus. What they do is they, at least for Access Link in New Jersey, what they do is they say, hey, is your pickup and drop off points, are they within 3/4 of a mile of a bus stop? If so, we will go to your house and pick you up right there at your house, and we will drop you right off at your destination. So instead of you having to go to a bus stop, wait, and take the bus, and then get off and then go to your destination, they'll drop you right there.
Oh wow.
Yes, paratransit. They just enabled. They actually. So I had a suggestion years ago. They finally did it, where they're actually partnering with Uber and Lyft, because before it used to be like these buses, and you needed to wait, and you need to be like, there was a time window for pickup, a time window for drop off, and it was a big pain, and you had to schedule stuff, and blah 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 blah. Now it's a lot easier. I think you can also pay online with a card. Before it was cash only. Now you can pay online with a card, use Uber and Lyft. It should be good to go. You might want to check it out. And this is not sponsored or anything. It's just my experience, because the more things you know about, the more doors that are going to open up for you, right? Now, granted, I used to take Access Link to and from work when I worked at an office. I work from home now. But when I used to work in an office, it was kind of a pain because I was fighting like the morning rush. However, that was back before they did Uber and Lyft for helping people out. They just did those big buses, so like you would be on like a route, like a set route for the morning, and sometimes you would like pick people up that would be like out of the way and everything. But it should be better now. So that's just my thoughts. Have anything else?
No, thank you.
All right, sure. What's our time right now? Time check.
Yeah, they got
7:36. Okay, so we have 9 minutes. Cool. Any other questions, concerns, comments? Yes. You were.
I have another question.
Yeah. What's your question?
What would you suggest is the best way to be assessed for either like ADHD or autism as an adult? Because I've been tested by psychiatrists before, and I got like a no on both fronts, and like sometimes I wonder if like like maybe that was like if I should get like a second opinion or something. It's just like if you don't like my understanding is for those two things is
Yeah.
that for most people that's a thing you're diagnosed with like when you're a child or a teenager, correct?
I
Or am I wrong on that front?
I'm not a medical professional, so I can't say.
Oh, okay.
But no, it's fine. But I mean, that I think that's normally where we see it, you know, historically. But
Yeah, I had a suggestion if
oh,
that's okay.
yeah, no, go ahead, talk.
Go
Yeah.
to a neurologist.
Neurologist, yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, that's the doctor I went to who told me no. So.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned like a second opinion. I see nothing wrong with that. Also, you mentioned a psychiatrist before. Was it a psychiatrist or a psychologist?
I know they were definitely a neurologist.
Okay.
I think they were a psychiatrist because they tried suggesting like some medication.
Oh, okay,
I
yeah.
tried it, but I didn't
Yeah.
like being on them.
I would try a psychologist instead of a psychiatrist, and a neurologist, because I have been speaking with my therapist, and I think he did mention there's like specific tests that can be done that a psychiatrist could do, or rather a psychologist. I'm sorry, see, I got the words mixed up. That a psychologist could do potentially. Not sure though, right? Once again, I'm not a medical professional, sorry. But yeah, I would if you still have doubts, totally get a second opinion.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with that, right? The worst they're going to say is no. And if you still have doubts after that, I would try and take a look at other things that it could potentially be, right? That's just my 2 cents. But once again, I'm not a medical professional, but at the end of the day, right, if, or rather I should say, at the end of the day, you have to do what's best for you, right, to be happy with your diagnosis. And if you still feel something is off or not right, I would work until you have an answer, right? Because you have to be happy, right? You have to be happy with your life and you need to take care of you. So if you have something else and it's like, oh, you actually have this other thing and there's some medication that you want to take, you'll be like, oh man, you know, my life has totally changed. So then it's a benefit to you, right? So it's all about improving your life so you can live the best life that you can.
Gotcha.
So just my
Alright,
thoughts.
thank
You sure?
I have another
Yeah,
comment,
comment, yep.
concerning your question.
Okay.
Having been through a lot of psychiatrists and therapists, honestly, if you can, which I understand not everybody has the access to a lot of doctors and a lot of psychiatrists and a lot of therapists.
Yep.
But honestly, a lot of times you're gonna have to shop around when it comes to mental stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to psychiatrists and therapists, sometimes they just won't work with you the way that you want them to.
Right.
And it helps if you're very upfront about like, hey, I want to hit this, this, and this. And if they're like, well, I'm not going to do that, switch.
Yeah. So, excuse me. The comment was basically shop around for therapists and therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists. So I will say that Matt, my therapist, was actually here earlier today for Furries and Mental Health. We did our talk together. He is an LCSW.
Licensed social worker?
Yes, a licensed social worker, or a licensed clinical social worker. And I found him on Talkspace. So there's Talkspace and BetterHelp. I use Talkspace, and it's been wonderful. You can switch anytime as far as therapists on there. So if that's helpful, that's good. Are you in New Jersey or New York at all?
Oh, me?
Yeah, you.
No, I live in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, okay, yeah, because Matt is licensed in New York and New Jersey, so may have to find someone else for that. And feel free to talk to them about furry as well, because if that's a concern for you. But I'm going to put the Furries and Mental Health presentation on YouTube, so feel free to check that out too, because we talk about all the different kinds of stuff. So, any other questions, thoughts, comments from you? Are you good? No, you. Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Are you good?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Anything else from anyone else? Questions, comments, concerns, thoughts? Feedback?
Good. Thank you.
Good?
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. I was more than happy to give this presentation. I will give it as long as Furrydelphia will allow me to give it, and as long as there is air going through my lupine lungs. So I will do what I can to help everyone out. So good stuff. What's our time? What's our time, Chuck?
7:42.
Woo! I can actually pack up a little early. Yay! All right. Good stuff. Oh wait, wrong button.
I don't think I ever told you guys. I'm
Awesome, dude.
Thank you very much. Yay!
I just barely make under the cutoff, apparently. Make sure they don't give you any more hours.
I'm probably gonna lose my chance because away. I have my family insurance and it lasts until I'm 24, I think. 24, 25.
I think it's until you turn 25.
Oh no, 26. 26.
It's 26?
26.
That's amazing.